Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Whoop Wednesday. We're going to get started on the 2S 75mm build. Yeah, I don't think we'll get through it, but we'll at least get a head start on it. And yeah, maybe we'll finish it up this weekend or Friday or maybe next Whoop Wednesday. Worst case scenario, we'll finish it up next Whoop Wednesday. I'm kind of going into the land of the unknown. I've never used this AIO before. One of the things that's going to really slow it down is that I didn't realize it, but the this Walksnail Lite still has the heat shield on it. Does anybody remember how did I get the heat shield off last time? Does anybody remember? I forget. It's hard to get this heat shield off, man. Good Lord. If anybody remembers, remind me. Because we went through a couple different methods that didn't work, and then I kind of figured out a way that it did work, sort of, kind of, not really, kind of, sort of, maybe. I don't have the chat popped out. Hold on. We want live chat. There we go! Oh! I'm exhausted. Freelojo was first, Mick Mucus was second, Cole Powers, Nick C, Tongue Out FPV, Siskel, Slow Cow, Doubles, Scotty Scott, Rocket Tech, Denzel the Terrible, Jacob, Hypnos, Timmons, Scotty Scott, Curtis Hayes, Johnny Then, Tom Johnson, Rock Crawler, Arc UK, or no, Arcs, sorry, BLD, Denzel the Terrible, Walter Van Den Ord, 661, Sleepy CBR, Freelojo, YouTube just did the thing, blame YouTube. Jacob Wilkinson with a $5 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, what's the thought on 75 to 85mm DJI 03 builds? I only have DJI. What would you suggest? Thank you so much for the super chat. 03 is absurdly heavy. And so, yeah, 75 is going to be a no-go for sure. The smallest I would ever consider doing an 03 build on would be 85. So yeah, and unfortunately, there aren't many 85mm builds out there to kind of like copy off of. So and I haven't done an 85 build yet. So I don't really know what to tell you. But what you can do is just take a look at bind and flies, and take a look at like 2.5-inch bind and flies, and then 75mm bind and flies, right? And so, like, for example, the 2.5-inch bind and fly, maybe it has like a 1404 motor, and then the 75 is going to have, let's say, like a 1002 motor, and then just go in between. So 10, 14, 12, 04, 04. Yeah, like 1204 would probably be about right. So yeah, you can always sort of like reverse engineer from other builds that are out there. The one thing that I will say though is that bind and flies usually have a motor that's a little bit smaller than they should. So if you find like an 85 millimeter whoop, so take a look at, I forget who makes it, but there's one or two whoops that are carrying around Vistas. The Vista is the closest VTX and camera combo in terms of weight to the 03 system. So look at the Vista whoops, and then just go a little bit bigger motors, a little bit bigger battery, and you should be good to go. Make sense? Rocket Tech with a $2 super chat. He says it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. I'm gonna click like on that one because, you know, dad jokes are always win. Scotty Scott says to let everybody know, Bamboo Labs A1 Mini is on sale. Wow, is on sale for $199. I still need to do my live stream setting it up. It's sitting over there. I don't have anything that needs 3D printing, so it's and there's a ton of other stuff that's kind of like in the on deck circle over here that I'm sort of prioritizing. But yeah, wow, $200. That's crazy. It comes in a big box, and there's a lot of fancy things in that box. I don't know how it's only $199. That's wild. Very, very cool. Rockcrawler says, hey, CiottiFPV and Gangly Gang. Danzilla Terrible says, do the RC drifters ever get annoyed with you getting in their way or hitting their cars? No. They love me. Like, the entire time I'm there, they are just freaking out. It is the coolest thing ever. And, like, I will full-blown get in their way. Like, I will crash somewhere unrecoverable, and I'll have to walk across the track, and, like, they will have to stop. But no, they absolutely love it. They absolutely love having FPV there. It's the coolest thing ever for them. So yeah, if you guys decide to go, don't feel like, you know, you're getting in their way or anything like that. Here's the other thing, right? Like, they're there just lapping for hours. You know, they're doing hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of laps. So, like, if you get in their way on one of those laps or two or three, they just don't care. You know, their batteries last like an hour. So they're not, there's not like a 3 or 4 minute runtime where, like, if you get in their way, they're like, ah, shit, I was just getting in my flow. Like, no, they don't care at all. And then you know, their cars are big and heavy, and the bodies are Lexan. We could hit them absolutely full throttle 100 times in a row, and it wouldn't do anything to their cars. Not to mention that, like, some of them, like, beat up their cars on purpose to make them look like the real thing. So, like, any damage that you might do to one of their cars, they're going to be like, oh, cool, man, it looks like I actually got into a real tangle. So, yeah, no, they absolutely love having FPV there. It's, like, the most insane thing ever to them. But, yeah, and yeah, we're so small and light. Their cars are probably, like, a kilogram, right? They're probably like 1,000 grams, and then here we come at like 30 grams, and it's just like they laugh when sometimes they'll hit me like really hard, and I'll hear all of them laugh because, like, and I don't get to see this because I'm not flying line of sight, right? But, like, they've told me that, like, when they hit me solid, it's like the tiny whoop comes in and just like boom, like it just like it's like getting hit by a baseball bat. Like, the tiny whoop just goes absolutely sailing when they hit it, and yeah, it's hysterical, man. Like, when I'm there, and like I'm a pretty, you know, like I laugh pretty easily, I laugh pretty loud, and like when I'm there, like, everybody's laughing, everybody's having a great time. It's and I think I kind of bring that out of them, because it really does, like, having FPV there does add like a comedic element to it, right? It's like, I don't know, like when you're doing your thing, like, you take it, and you're trying to get good, like, you take it pretty seriously, but then to, like, have somebody else there that's just having fun, right? Like, that really kind of lightens the mood up. And so yeah, do it, friends. I'm telling you, find a local group of RC drifters and go invade their shit, and they will just absolutely love you. Don't expect to make any money from it. It is not a hobby that has people in it that have money. Much like sort of FPV, right? Like if we had tons of money, we would be flying real helicopters or real airplanes, right? Kind of the similar thing. Like the RC drifters, most of them can't afford to do real drifting. And so it's not like, don't expect to go in there and be like, hey guys, I'm willing to fly for you, but you got to pay me $100 a night. Like that's probably not going to fly. It's there to go and have fun and yeah, and boy is it fun. So do it, my friends. Freeloader, drop in the CiottiFPV.com link. Denzel the Terrible says heat gun, X-Acto knife to pry. So that's what we tried the first time, and what we realized pretty quick, which Tokyo Dom backed up, is that the heat gun doesn't really help. Like, it's a heat sink. Its job is to get hot, and the heat paste that they use is specifically there to hold the damn thing on and to not let go of it once it gets hot. I think we might have used the X-Acto knife, though. I think you might be right on the X-Acto knife front. Let me just really quickly see if I can kind of, from what I remember, I was really, yeah, that's it. So it's X-Acto knife on this corner. This is the safest corner, and I remember kind of wiggling it back and forth like this. I hate, this is like the sketchiest thing ever. Like, I'm just pushing this X-Acto knife directly at my thumb. And I remember this feeling of absolute and utter horror. I'm trying to not push too hard, though. Oh, I remember this. Yeah. So I can hold it from this side, and then I can put the bottom on the desk, and then the X-Acto knife is up here. And so if I push straight down, I should go into the desk instead of going into my thumb. And I remember just being very gentle and just taking my time with this as much as possible. So that's what I'm going to do here below the desk, below the camera view, in hopes that I can get enough of this pried up so that while I'm reading chat, I can cut my finger off. No, so that we can have this done before we get started, versus me sitting there with the camera on. This way I'll, if I cut myself really good, the blood will spurt up into the camera view versus doing it full-blown on camera where you get to see all the gore. Maybe you'll only see a little bit of the gore tonight. It does kind of, I can get in there and start to pry on it. Ooh, yeah, that just slipped. That's sketchy. It's going. It's going for sure. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Oh, wow. This one was, whoa, yeah, this one was way easier than the other one. Hold on, I might have this one already. Hold up. So now I'm going to take the little chip lifter and see if I can just get it under the corner here. I really wish they still sold these. And now I can hold it normally because the chip lifter is not sharp. There's nothing to see, guys. I'm putting the chip lifter under the corner of the silver heat shield and just prying up on it. You're not missing anything. I think the chip lifter is a little bit too thick, although it's coming. Oh, yep, there it goes. And there it is. Cool. Well, that was not bad at all. The key thing is just to be super, super, super gentle when you're doing it, because that you're pulling up on the chip. And now this thermal paste is a heavy metal, I'm told, and so you do not want to get that on you. So be careful. Wipe your hands off, and then you should wipe it off of the big chip here. Yeah, that was not bad. I just barely scratched it the tiniest little bit on the corner. I think you're always going to leave a little bit of a scratch. But yeah, not bad at all. Cool. I'm going to wipe this, I'm going to put this away before I gash myself on it sitting on the desk. And then I'm going to try to wipe this thermal paste off here. Oh yeah, it's coming right off. Wow, that was rad. Freelojo dropping the CiottiFPV.com link. Thank you, dude. I already said that. Curtis Hayes says, no, heat and razor blade. Yep. Well, no, minus the heat. Mick Buca says, I think you used a plastic razor blade. Yes. So I tried a plastic razor blade. I think that's what Tokyo Dom said was the way to go. I couldn't get the plastic razor blades that I got from Amazon. They were basically not sharp enough to get under the actual thing. So I had no luck with the plastic razor blade, and just ended up using what amounts to an X-Acto knife. But yeah, razor blade would totally work. Something metal with a really sharp edge, because the gap between this main chip and the heat sink is like nothing. They're really closely together. So you need the sharpness of the X-Acto knife or razor blade to be able to get in between the two of them to start prying them apart. But yeah, that was fairly simple. That did not require a lot of force. It was more just me rocking the X-Acto knife back and forth to just slowly push its way down in between the two of them. And yeah, you'll see what I mean when you have to do it. Like, if you hold the board in like the normal way, you're gonna be driving the blade directly at your thumb. So just work it out. Just figure out that there's that different way of holding the board. You're gonna hold it off on the side like this, and then you're gonna brace the bottom so that you can have that downward force rather than holding it like this and you're pushing directly towards your thumb. Right? You'll see what I mean. I think you guys are gonna have to do it too. I don't think they're selling these Walksnail Lites without the heat shields anymore, which sucks. But because this is not, somebody's gonna gash the shit out of themselves doing this for sure. All right, so now this microfiber has a bunch of this shit on it. Let me just shake it off, and then let's wipe it up here. One of the great things about microfiber cloths is the fibers are so small, they're so micro, that they pick stuff up. They're like the preferred thing for washing your car, because the little bits of dirt stick to this instead of sticking to the paint. And so it really does a good job picking stuff up and not letting it go. Brandon Anderson says, just snip the Walksnail cam and VTX out of my Vision 40 Operation Analog conversion. It'll be heading your way in a box soon enough. Cheers. Oh, dude, very cool. Very, very cool. That thing will rail on analog. Jesus. Walter says, let your kids print. You know, I've talked to them about it. They have no interest in it. None whatsoever. Can I help you, sir? You're just expectantly looking at me. What are you looking at me like this for? What do you want from me? What do you want? What? You want to jump up on my lap? You want to lay down? What do you want? You're not even carrying a toy. What is it? What are you looking for? What are you looking for here, buddy? You're acting... You are a kicky bastard. Get over here. Get over here, you bastard, you. Arrgh. Stop it. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Stop biting me. Stop biting me. Bite somebody else. You gonna eat the Walksnail? Look how small this dog is. He fits on the desk. Oh, God. Oh, buddy. Oh, he didn't want to hug. He just wanted to freak out. Relax. Relax. Oh, easy. Ow. He's so bad. God, what a bad dog. There it is. Now it's chaos time. Denzel says your first 3D print must be a benchy. It's the law. Is the benchy the little boat? They give you a boat motor, and I think the first thing that it prints is the boat, so that you can put the boat motor on it. Kind of cool. I was not expecting that. I was like, oh wow, look, they hook you up. Ah, doggy, 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 doggy. Yeah, he wants to play. BLDO550 says, once you break the seal on that printer and start using it, I guarantee you go down the rabbit hole. Yeah, I will not. I will not. I don't doubt that. Jbo888 with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, brother. He says, first Mobula 6 2024 problem. Emax transporter goggles installed, SD card and goggles went black on first flight. Still have OSD. I think the camera is gone. Coincidence, or can SD card cause some sort of a short? Nope. OSD but no picture is either the camera has died or the wire between the camera and the AIO has died. Technically, one of the pins with the incoming video on the OSD might have died, but I've never actually seen that happen. So it's either the camera or the camera wire. Check the camera wire. No real way for you to check the camera. Has nothing to do with the goggles. Can't have anything to do with the goggles if you're getting... Well, when you say OSD, those goggles might have their own OSD. So I'm assuming that by OSD you mean Betaflight OSD, but just be careful of that. The goggles might have their own like little picture of a battery and like what channel it's on. That's within the goggle. Betaflight OSD is different. I'm gonna assume that you know the difference between those two things. So yeah, it sounds like the camera shit the bed, Jabo. That sucks. But if something's gonna break, that's the cheapest thing to break. Unfortunately, they are now direct soldering the camera, so you're gonna have to direct solder a replacement camera on, unless you can return the damn thing and get a new one. Cloudhopper says, thank you again for the support. Cloudhopper says, you asked last stream if any of us are build during the stream. I wind motors during the stream. I flew my first set of RS 802 30,000 on the Mobula this week. How are they, Cloudhopper? Can you really notice the difference? I'm assuming yes, but that's awesome. Yeah, I know a lot of people work on stuff during the live streams. I am Ian Bennett says, good evening, sir. Good evening to everyone else as well. Jabo says, if I wiggle the camera wires, I get some sort of terrible vision. Try resoldering, which I've never done, but time to learn. Yeah, there you go. You found your problem, is the wires. So yeah, you got to resolder the... Could be any of the wires, technically. The camera could be powering off. Try to isolate it to just one wire. Jay Hines says, I have a question about my Mobula 7. I have it bound ELRS, but the sticks and switches don't connect, can't arm, etc. What else do I need to check? You need to check your ports tab. If the Express LRS is bound, it's talking to the transmitter, and the transmitter is sending what you're doing on the sticks to the ELRS receiver. That receiver then... oh, you said Mobula 7. So that AIO is built in. Sorry, that receiver is built in. When did this behavior start? Is where we always should start with troubleshoots. That's a tough one. Unless you screwed around with something in the ports tab, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I absolutely would need to know when the behavior started. That's the only way I can troubleshoot that. That should not be the case, because Express LRS is built in. So there's no wires going between it and the AIO. It's all internal traces. And I guess one of those traces could have broken, but boy, is that rare. Chronic Nugget says, guess it's my turn this week. Broke a U.fl on my VTX a few days ago, and today my quad dropped out of the sky, and the ESC seems to be no more. Best 20x20 ESC ever individuals on 3-inch. Never individuals on anything other than maybe like a lifter, but even that doesn't make much sense. Individual ESCs are yeah, they're you can't even find them anymore. You wouldn't even be able to do it. They don't even exist anymore, which is a good thing. If it's a 3-inch rig, you don't need the best 20x20 ESC. There's no reason for you to spend $120 on an ESC for a 3-inch rig. It's going to be way too heavy, and it's just, yeah, there's just no reason to do that. So you don't want the best ESC ever. I have a really hard time not recommending the SpeedyB. The SpeedyB 20x20 and 30x30 stuff is, from what everybody's telling me, totally bulletproof. And a lot of people are running them on 5-inch rigs. So if they survive a 5-inch rig, and if they're bulletproof on a 5-inch rig, you'll be able to run them on a 3-inch rig till the dawn of time. So yeah, that's going to be my recommendation. And I'm going to start using the SpeedyB stuff on pretty much everything, because it's just so cheap. And it's just, yeah, it just seems to work. And having SpeedyB on board is really, really cool. Siskel says, I posted in Discord some of the boat chase video from Sunday I got while watching the live stream between batteries. Only been flying a few months. Would love your take on places to improve. If you've only been flying a few months, Siskel, nothing that I really say to you is going to help, because you're in a phase where you just need to pound batteries. You just need to fly 1,000 more batteries, and then you can like, after you've gotten to like 1,000 batteries, then you can start to refine. But for right now, yeah, it's just about putting a bunch of batteries in. Anything that I tell you to improve on, you're going to focus too much on that, and then like everything else is going to suffer. So like right now, you just want to spend as much time in the air as possible for real and in the simulator. So start doing like a half an hour in the simulator every single night. Try to do 6 batteries a day in real life, and get a few months deep into that regimen, flying every single day, and then you'll be at a point where you're approaching good enough to like actually start working on individual things. But for right now, there's just so many other things that you need to get used to, right? Like, namely, getting really comfortable with what's up and what's down. Like, that's one of the first things that you need to put 1,000 batteries into, is just, you know, flipping into weird scenarios and then figuring out how to quickly get back to level. And so, yeah, like if I were to give you a bunch of drills to do and like, hey, practice this, practice that, you're going to focus too much on that. You know, right now there's like 100 things that need to get figured out first, and it's just stick time is the easiest way to kind of get over that initial first hump. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm super curious to see boats though. I don't know where it is on Discord. I have like 1 million channels on the Discord, so I don't really know where to look, but let me know. Walter says, yes, we are the collective. This shirt is available over on the Etsy store. I'm sorry, on the Teespring store, rather, on CiottiFPV.com. You can also join my Patreon there, which is the best way to keep this thing going. It is literally how I pay the bills. It is how I keep food in the kids' mouths, how we continue to live in this awesome house. So yeah, if you have $3 a month, which is only 10 cents a day, or like 7.5 cents per hour of this live stream content, throw it my way, and I will keep doing this forever, and we can all keep learning together and hanging out. There's also a Etsy page with a bunch of fun stuff, some stickers, some hardware. There's a Fiverr page where you can work one-on-one with me. You know, I put all of the information here in the live streams, 2 hours at a time, 10 hours a week, every single week. So you can get all the good info, but it's going to take you a long time to do that. If you want to save yourself a ton of time, we can spend a half an hour or an hour together one-on-one. You can hammer me with every single question that you can think of, or I can guide you through a session helping you tune better, fly better in the simulator, or build better. Stop buying stuff that catches on fire, for example. And yeah, that's a really good way to accelerate yourself in the hobby extremely quickly. So yeah, ask yourself what your time is worth. If you have the extra money, you can save yourself a ton of time, and you can get a massive leg up on your buddy that you started flying with, and you can be much better than him. And he's gonna be like, what the hell? And you'd be like, yeah, I'm the smart one that hired Ciotti to help me. Do that to him. Make sure you do that to him. To your buddy. Casey Gray says, do you know anything about U.fl spec builds, which is Ultimate Whoop League, I believe? I do not. The only thing I know is that they use 802 20,000s? I don't know. They use a low KV 802 motor. I've been trying to figure out a solid whoop build for U.fl. It looks like 75 millimeters is the way to go. I have both Walksnail and HD0. Well, it's a spec league, so there's a spec build. So I don't think you need to figure out a solid whoop build. You just need to build to their spec. Just whatever their spec is, that's what you need to build to. If there's any wiggle room in the spec, like if the spec, for example, is just motors and then the props are free, the frame is free, just copy off the other guys. Just look at what the other guys are using and just copy them. If you can find like the top guys, they're the best ones to copy, right? But I mean, if you copy anybody's build, it's gonna at least get you headed in the right direction. But yeah, typically spec racing has a set of stuff that you have to run. You have to run these motors, have to run these props, have to run this frame, have to run this AIO, and so there's no figuring out a build. It's just buying. It's just paying the money for the parts that they've spec'd out, and away you go. So yeah, there's both sides. If they have like a full spec, it's the easiest thing in the world. If they've only spec'd like the motors that you need to run, then just copy somebody else, and away you'll go. Jay Hines says, another question. One of my Mobula 6 arms up with the motors running, but it's not. It won't come off the ground. Okay. Check the rotations, the props, everything's fine. What can I check next? I mean, if the motors are rotating properly and if your props are on correctly and the battery is charged, all right, so what you want to do is you want to go into Betaflight with it, and you want to go into the motors tab, and you want to individually spin each motor up. There has to be one motor or ESC channel that is failing. And then the PID loop is limiting the other three motors down because that one is not able to deliver enough power. So yeah, you need to figure out which channel and or which motor is the problem. And yeah, the easiest way to do that. You can also do that in turtle mode. Flip on turtle mode and just go into the diagonals, which will only spin one motor up. There's got to be one motor that's not spinning very hard. It'll be very obvious. Give that a shot. YouTube just did the thing. Scrolling back up. Ark says, how much does that heat shield weigh again? I want to say it's 1.2 grams, but I'll tell you the exact number. It's a significant amount of weight, which is fucking annoying because, man, does it overheat quick without it on there. But it is a real amount of weight. Come on, come on, come on. Wow. 1.5 grams. We wish it was only 1.2 grams. Yeah, I mean, 1.5 grams is brutal. Like, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have removed it because it is going to be a 2S big power rig. But even if you have the power, reducing weight is still well worth it because it's going to control the slidiness and the momentum that the rig is carrying. And what we're building here is a rig for jungle gym bashing, right? And jungle gyms have a ton of small little gaps in them. So keeping this thing, I really can't wait to compare this with the 1S Walksnail build, because there's a chance that for jungle gym bashing, that 1S build is the way to go, because it's going to be significantly lighter, even without the power. And it could just be a situation where it's like, you know, we can't get the extra power. Like we don't have the right motors yet. And then this thing will definitely be fun for like railing around in front of the house and behind the house and stuff like that, like throwing it up over trees and shit like that. This is going to be amazing, whereas like the 1S stuff is never going to do a great job with that. So yeah, this will have its place, but again, for that kind of flying, I think a toothpick is a better option. Like it's, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe this will change my mind. Where this will be cool is this will go slower. Toothpicks, open propped rigs, haul ass all the time, and they slide all over the place. So they're hard to shoot small gaps with. So this could be king of like in front of the house, behind the house, because it's got the guards, and it's gonna track in a much more straight line. So in theory, this will be able to hit those tiny little gaps in your little garden. But then you'll also have the power to throw it up over, you know, not like 100-foot tall trees, but, you know, like 20, 30-foot tall trees. This will be able to gobble those up. So we'll see. I'm super interested in how this is going to turn out. I do need to figure the motor situation out, right? I didn't realize that I hadn't quite dove into that yet. It's definitely going to be on a 1002. I just have to figure out which 1002. I think to get started with. Down the road, I think it's going to be on a 1002 14,000 kV, the RC and power motor that I also have on the Tiny Lifter. But for right now, I think I'm going to put it on the 1002 22,000s. I think that makes the most sense. I would really like to put it on these 1003s. What's the KV on these? Maybe I will. Nah, these are 22,000. No, I'm not doing that. These 1003s are for some sort of a toothpick-ish rig. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it on these. Which is annoying because I'm going to have to take them out of this frame. BLD says, how much weight savings is it? 1.5 grams. Rocket Tech says, I print Spirograph toys for when the kids come by with their parents. Oh my god, who remembers Spirograph? I fucking loved Spirograph when I was a kid. My parents had like the deluxe set that had little tracks and pins and a piece of cardboard. So it came with a piece of cardboard. You'd put that cardboard down, and then you put your paper on top, and then it had like fucking train tracks with the little teeth in them. So you could make and so there was like a 90-degree turn. There would be like straight pieces. There would be like 180-degree turns. And so you could make your own crazy little fucking creation, and then you could run the Spirograph bastards around, and you would pin them down. You would use the pins. So you would take the 90-degree like this, and you would go pin, pin, and the pins would go into the cardboard, right? That's why they gave you that cardboard sheet. So you'd pin that bitch down, and then you put a straight piece, pin, pin, and then you could make a fucking little racetrack, and then inevitably you'd push it too hard, and it would slip off, and it would ruin the entire thing. As a kid, you don't have the fine motor control or the patience. That'd be fun to play with now. They play with it, and when it's time to go, I let them have it, then I print up another one. That's cool. That's amazing. Jay Hines says, how much for the dog? $250. Cole Powers says, he fits on the desk, falls off desks. Jumped off the desk. Jay Hines says, behavior started after a month of flying. Just at total random? Just like you're flying and just all of a sudden it drops to the ground and won't take off? Is that what I'm reading here? Cloudhopper says, my rewound 30,000 kV RS802s are very close to the iGao 27,000. Dude, yeah, I had the same feeling. Maybe just a bit higher power. I've only flown a couple of batteries. Gonna wind more since I have 5 sets of the RS0802s. Wow, very cool. I'm actually thinking about testing the 75 millimeter rigs on the 33,000 kV motors against the 27s. Right now, I pulled apart the Jungle Gym Basher with the 30,000 kV 802s, and I have the 33,000s that I made just kind of sitting. So I think I want to compare, since the 27s versus the 30s, I could barely tell a difference. I think I want to compare the 27s to the 33s, because that'll really tell me if we're at the limit of the 1610 propeller on an 802 motor. That's kind of so that's my current feeling, right? Because there's not much of a difference between the 27s and the 30s, and that 3000 kV doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. And I think there should be a bigger difference between these two. Going all the way up to 33, that's a huge jump. So if the 33s don't make significantly more power than the 27s, what that means is that, yeah, there's no reason. Basically, what that means is that an 802 motor with the 1610 propellers, 27,000 kV is the right number. Going beyond that number, the motor does not have enough grunt, and it doesn't stay cool enough. And so, like, basically, when you go full throttle, it gets so hot so fast that the bell saturates with heat, and when that happens, the magnets become literally less magnetic, and yeah, and that will actually be a really good thing, because that means that we've optimized the 802 motor size, and we've figured out that an 802 motor on this specific propeller can only be this kV to get any actual performance benefit, and that's a big deal. Like, that tells us a lot, and that really helps with continuing to figure out different motor sizes, different KVs. So that's kind of exciting. Jake FPV says, did you get the A1 with the color AMS? No, and I don't plan on getting the AMS. It's too big. And I'm never gonna use. I'm never gonna do the multicolor thing. That's just too much. For me, a 3D printer is like, if I absolutely need something last second, I have it here to be able to make it. Or like with the Batwing mount that Timmons has been creating, I can kind of like rapid prototype that and check it and give him feedback quicker. I'm still gonna get my GoPro mounts from Brain 3D because they sponsor me, and because their print files are amazing. They have, in my opinion, the best print files in the business, and then of course their quality is unbelievable. But like their actual files that Brian creates, right? The actual GoPro mount is just awesome. It's like, there's no extra material. It's as light as it can be. It's really strong. So yeah, not a ton is gonna change with my current sort of laziness in terms of getting prints, but I will not have to come on here and be like, hey guys, I need a Batwing mount really bad. Who can print one and then send it to me? You know, like that's silly. I appreciate it, and I mean, you guys have been amazing, like helping me out when that's been the case. But yeah, I would rather not have to do that. I'm going to take these motors. My option is just to run the Flywoo Robo motors. On the 2S build. And again, these motors are going to change. I just want to get the build done, and then I'm gonna have to motor limit these. These are all, you know, these are 22,000. The Flywoo Robos are 23,500. The motors are gonna have to change for sure. I'm gonna use the Flywoo Robos because these RC and Power 1002 22,000s. I think these are the motors that are gonna live on the 1S Walksnail Jungle Gym Basher / Cinewoop. So yeah, I will leave these alone, and we'll just really motor limit the hell out of those Flywoo Robos. Hold on, let me just second guess myself real quick. Hold on, let me just change my mind real quick. Hang on, ready? Watch me change my mind, ready? Right now it's on the VCIs, but it's coming off of these because they just eat the batteries. But I'm going to leave it on these for a while. Yeah, it's not going to matter. I'm going to run it on the Robos. It's fine. It's fine. I'm not going to change my mind. Yeah, we'll run it on the Robos. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. All right. Rob Axelson says, "Hola. Got off tomorrow. Get some drinks in me. Feel free to keep me in check." Got some drinks in me. Nice. Curtis Hayes says, "I was flying my Mob8 in my basement large and just broke my flight controller frame posts again after T7000 fixing the last break. Should I buy Mob8 frame or is there a cockroach frame to get?" The good cockroach frame is the 65 V3. The rest of the cockroach frames I don't really like. They're way too fragile. Apparently, the HGLRC 85mm frame is very durable. So that would be my suggestion, other than stop flying such a big, heavy rig inside the house. That's definitely more of an outdoor rig. But yeah, if you're going to fly it in the house, I would say get the HGLRC frame. Give that one a shot. Rab Axelson with a $10 super chat. He says, "Because I can, tell your parents I still owe them dinner." They know. It's funny. Last time my dad and I were talking about the stream, he was like, "Yeah, I still have to have dinner with Rab Axelson." So he remembers. Chronic Nugget says, "My one and only issue with the Speedy B 2020 is that it's BLS and not 32. Well, that's actually a really good thing because BL32 is completely dead. And so like most ESCs that are on BL Heli 32 are going to have 32.9 on them. And 32.9 has a bug where as soon as you plug power in, it fires motor 1 up to 100% and doesn't until the battery goes dead. So yeah, without the ability to update BL Heli 32, yeah, you don't want it. Not to mention that there aren't that many. I mean, in super high RPM scenarios, maybe BL Heli 32 will have a little bit of a benefit over Blue Jay, but yeah, no, I don't think that's anything that any of us are going to actually notice there. And that's just in like crazy high KV scenarios like tiny whoops and whatnot. But there really are no tiny whoops that have BL Heli 32, so that's kind of a non-issue. So yeah, I would strongly advise that no one buy any BL Heli 32 stuff anymore because it's looking like they are not going to open up the configurator to allow us to, or make the hexes available for us to get them onto 32.10. And yeah, so it's a shame, but kind of is what it is. YouTube did the thing again, finding my place. Bergeron with a 5 Canadian Californian dollar super chat. He says, "Can I see the motors? What's in the mini Ziploc baggie? Spare BT 2.0 connectors." If you mean this bag, this is what came with the AIO. This has motor plugs on it. Am I going to use motor plugs? Yeah, I'm going to use motor plugs. So I'm going to have to solder these motor plugs on. This build's going to take a long time. And just like random hardware and whatnot in it. The motors are just Flywoo Robo 1002. Nothing crazy. Just an all black 1002. Nothing really to see. All right, I'll show you the motors. Hey, there they are. Not brand new. I've been flying these a bunch. But yeah, there you go. I don't know so these are technically 23,500 kV motors. They don't. They really don't outperform the RC and Power 22,000 kV motors. So I don't know. I don't know which ones I would recommend. Where I'm at currently is buy one of those two, but just buy the ones that you like the colors of best. The RC and Powers come in blue, pink, and then orange. The Flywoos come in purple and gold. So whichever one you like the look of. I couldn't tell a difference between them. So yeah. Johnny then says, is Rotor Riot selling the 1S Lite without the heatsink, or is that just the wrong image they have on the product listing? Probably the wrong image they have on the product listing, because I'm 99% sure that Caddx Walksnail does not sell it without the heat shield anymore, because it overheats so quickly. Walksnail Lite. So like if we go onto their website, they no longer sell it without the heat sink. See what I mean? They only sell it like this now. 18 results. Yeah, it's just not in here. What's this? This is like a tech article. This is a link to. That's weird. They're hosting Oscar Liang's. That's interesting. And yeah, like on here, you know, there's no option for without heat shield. Super annoying, but I'll be honest, that one was not hard to get off. That was very, very easy. Curtis Hayes says, someone give CiottiFPV a snack. I'm good. I ate before we went to Maggie and I went to West Coast swing class. Martin Tanley says, hey there, what's your favorite go-to ESC for whoops that's easy to order and reliable? Thanks. So we don't really have ESCs for whoops. We have all-in-ones, which are flight controller, ESC, receiver, and VTX, all in one. That's the name, all in one. There really are none that are easy to order. I really wouldn't I really wouldn't call any of them reliable, unfortunately. The most reliable that we have at the moment, unbelievably, I think, is the Beta FPV cross style. The problem with that AIO is that it actually doesn't have a VTX built in. So you're going to have to run an external VTX, which is kind of silly, unless you're going to get into tiny whoop racing. If you're targeting tiny whoop racing, that's definitely the direction to go. You have to go in that direction. If you're just going to fly around the house, fly freestyle with it, the best option that we've got at the moment is the Mobula 6 2024 by Happy Model. And that's kind of it, unbelievably. Yeah, nobody else makes a tiny whoop AIO that can hold up to any abuse and or will work consistently out of the box. And unfortunately, like, everything is out of stock, so it's a total pain in the ass to actually order them. But yeah, that's what we got. That's the situation. We're all in that same situation. So kind of annoying. Kevin Sumner says, relive your childhood for $23. It's going to be a spirograph kit. There it is. So this is not the one with the little well, this is not quite the one with the tracks, but this is a cool. This is somewhere in between. Yeah, man, look at that. My God, spirograph. Hold on. How many different? I must have had like the spirograph ultra deluxe kit or something. Let's sort by price, high to low. What's the most expensive spirograph kit? Yeah, it's that. Well, super. I bet you this is it. I bet you this is it. Yep, this is it. There it is. There it is. Right? So you've got 90 degrees. Oh, that looks like 45 degrees. And then you got little short ones. You got long ones. You got the straight bits. You got the shorter straight bits. And so, yeah, you can make your own. See, like, that's how they did this. That's how they did this design here on the outside. They made their own little path. And then it probably comes with some kind of, like, some way of holding them down. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, my God, that's crazy. Jesus, man, I have not thought about spirograph in 100,000 years. That's insane. Man, it was hard to keep that from skipping. But fun. Damn, spirograph. What a blast from the fucking past. Rob Oxison says, spirograph was for us weird kids. Striker says, I'm so unimaginably excited. My whoop gets here tomorrow morning. Maybe I can practice and get good enough to fly at church on Sunday with my boy and his Tiny Hawk 3. Very cool, dude. You're going to love it. Tiny whooping is the best. Morton Upshot says, fair warning. It's very difficult. Tiny whooping is very, very difficult. You're going to get frustrated. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep pounding batteries through it. That's the name of the game. Morton Upshot says, what KV motors are going in? 23,500 KV. Just because I don't have any of the lower KV motors at the moment, and I can just motor limit these down. So it'll be fine for a little bit. Walter says something that I'm not going to say out loud, but yeah, that's not the problem. I can promise you that. Rob Oxison says, does Teddy what? That was at 10:42. I forget what we were talking about. Cole Power says, we need to find a way to put an FPV camera on Teddy. Jay Hines says, one day tried to fire it up to fly, but it's broken. The Mobula 7. Yeah, you got to do what I said. You got to fire the motors up individually in the motors tab in Betaflight or in turtle mode. You got to figure out which corner is the problem, and then once you've figured that out, you're going to swap motors, and you're going to see if the problem chases the motor or if the problem stays on that same corner. Hopefully the problem chases the motor so that you can just replace the motor. If the problem stays on that same corner, that means that ESC channel has shit the bed and you got to replace the entire AIO. So yeah, that's how you're going to figure that out. Martin Tanley says, so do you recommend throttle limiting then on the 802s so we keep the motors more safe? If I'm gonna assume that this is in reference to the discussion about 802 motors on 1610 propellers on 75 millimeter rigs. If you have done, if I compare the 27,000s with the 33,000s, and the 33,000s don't make significantly more power, if you also have 33,000 kV 802s on your 75 millimeter rig with 1610 propellers, then yes, I'm going to recommend that you like motor limit it down to like 27,000 basically. But I doubt that you do. Most people have followed my recommendations for that combo and just gotten the iGao 802 27,000s, which are perfect. So yeah. CMYK says, what's up, gang of the gang? What's up, dude? Striker says, new 3002? That's the dumbest motor size I've ever heard. New 3002 motor, best freestyle motor ever. No, worst motor ever. Ever. That is the worst motor size I've ever heard. Wait, what? So So good. Tiny whoops. 10-inch, trust me. You alright, Striker? I can't make sense out of what you're saying down in the bottom of your message, Striker, but if somebody is actually making a 30 millimeter wide, 2 millimeter tall motor, nobody should buy that. That is an awful idea. That motor is going to perform horribly. Hypno says, you're going to kill my PC. The render is going to take 9 hours. Just DM'd you a still shot in Discord. Wow, I can't believe I was going to say, whoa! That looks fucking cool, though. Hypnos, do you mind if I show that on the stream, or should I keep it a secret? Wow, that looks cool! Holy shit. That is wild. I won't show it on the stream if you don't want me to. I am Ian Bennett says, choose on frame, not sure if watching Ciotti or Teddy. Rob Axelson says, this Teddy had me food allergies. I brew beer and use spent grains for dog treats. Bananas, peanut butter. Got a package, 9 used parts, going to send your way. Should I send treats? He does not. He does not seem to have any food allergies. No. We give him sweet potato to try to make his shits a little bit more solid. But yeah, no, he doesn't seem to have any food allergies. Very cool. That's awesome, dude. Teddy's going to love you. Striker says, what's your favorite ice cream flavor? Me personally, I love lipo flavor. Chocolate with either peanut butter or peanut butter cups, which sucks because I have food allergies to peanut butter, so I can only have a little bit of it at a time. But I also have food allergies to eggs and dairy, so ice cream is pretty much a no-go for me, unfortunately. But I can have like 2 spoons of ice cream and then I have to stop, or it just becomes chocolate rain all up in this bitch. JP Sorry. Oh, man. JP Spin FPV says, I literally thought the same thing regarding the AMS. Never going to need or want that. It's so useful. AMS? Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'd be cool to have. Here's the other problem with it, is it's gigantic. And, like, the 3D printer has a space that's, like, this big, and that's it. I'm not having some big, ghastly thing over there. It's just, yeah, single color, totally fine. The only reason that I didn't send this 3D printer to Timmons is that it's really small and it's really compact, and apparently it's also very quiet, and whatnot. So yeah, it's the AMS would like almost triple the size of the damn thing, and that's just a total deal breaker for me. So but yeah, the AMS setup is apparently, from the YouTube videos, everybody's like, holy shit, this is amazing. Rob Axelson says, P-break. BLD says, you'll be getting a 85mm HDLRC frame. Oh, very cool, BLD. Nice. That's in the box that's coming. Wait a second. Is that what those other, what those 2 frames are that you sent before? Are those the HDLRC frames? Son of a bitch. I might have already seen the damn things. I bet you, I think they are, aren't they? I think that's what this is. Isn't it? I couldn't figure out what it was. And I meant to look it up, and then I just didn't. HDLRC, because it happened right on top of when absolute chaos and insanity was going on in my life. No. Okay, so this is close, but this is not it. This is not exactly it. This is a little bit different. Wonder what this one is. 85mm tiny whoop frame. There aren't many. It'll be easy to find it. There it is. It's this one. Who is this made by? This is the one. Who are you made by? Oh, Happy Model. Oh, okay. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Sweet. So this is the Happy Model. 85mm frame. It feels really tough. Yeah, I can't imagine this blowing up. Fusion Catalyst says it's a Mob8 frame. Very cool. Yeah, right. Happy model Mob8. Sweet. Cool. So we'll be able to compare this to the HDLRC. Thank you, dude. Very cool. All right. And I think I'm almost caught up on the. I think I'm almost caught up on chat. We can get to work on the 2S build. Oh, thank God. Striker says joke, but because 3002 is stupid. Thank God. It says joke comment. All right, good. Hold on. YouTube did the thing. Scrolling back up. Striker says my freestyle in the sim is 10 times better than my freestyle in real life. Yep. Same rates, angle, everything. I even have prop wash to the max in my sim. Any suggestions? You gotta fly more. There are no. It's fine. There are no consequences in the sim, and so nothing matters. There's nothing on the line. You know, same thing as like when I'm in the when I'm in the simulator on Gran Turismo 7, I do shit that I would never do in real life in a real race car with a student or even alone. Because there's just no consequences. So, you know, 45-degree angle coming out of a corner, like, fuck it, I'll stay in it in the sim. Whereas, like, you know, in real life, it's like, yeah, hell no. We're not going towards a concrete wall at 45 degrees. We're gonna get this thing under control before we exit this corner. So yeah, you just have to fly more in real life. You have to get so good flying for real that you can fly at like 8/10, right? Like in the simulator, you can fly 10/10 all the time. And you do fly 10/10 all the time. And so you'll be really good at 10/10. In the real world where there's money and like don't kill someone and like don't lose the rig that you poured all this time into, you're not going to be able to fly beyond like 7/10 because there's just that shit on the line. This is why I talk about like build multiple rigs, right? If you have 3 identical builds, when you're flying that first one, you're kind of like, well, fuck it. Like I have 2 more, it's fine. And it starts to get you sort of over that. So yeah, there's a, it's like that for everybody. There aren't many people. A lot. I guess you could argue that some of like the younger guys, who have like where like their dads do all of the building and the repairing. You know, one of the reasons why those younger guys fly so good is that they don't give a shit. They have zero mechanical sympathy. They don't care if they lose it. They don't care, right? And so, yeah, there's that. But most of us are not like that, right? Like, most of us can't afford to just every single time we go out fly, throw caution to the wind and like, oh, it got hung up in the top of the tree, whatever, leave it, next. Like, that's pretty unrealistic. So, yeah, that is where the sim, in my opinion, starts to lose value, is when you're so good in the simulator, but then in real life, like it almost becomes frustrating. Like, what the hell? I can do all this stuff in the sim, but I can't do any of it in real life. That's the point where I think you need to back off the sim and fly more in the real world until those two things get a little bit closer, right? And this, like, you kind of do this, and then you can learn a little bit more in the sim, and then kind of chase with real life. So yeah, that is a very normal thing, though. It's not just you. Scotty Scott says, use the ORT antenna on my Mob8 7, crashed on the top, and the antenna tore the U.fl off the X12 flight controller. Is it possible to steal an old flight controller and solder it back to the X12? It depends. It depends on how the U.fl tore off. If the U.fl ripped the pads off with it, then no. You cannot put a new U.fl on there. But what you can do in both cases... What do you want, dog? What do you want? What is your deal right now? What is the... You're upstairs screaming and yelling. You're freaking out. What are you freaking out for? You got shit all over you. You stink to high hell. What you can do is direct solder an antenna. if it ripped the pads off, so UFLs, on the outside of the UFL, there are 2 rectangular pads, like where the tips of my fingers are, and then up here in the middle is the signal pad, and it's much smaller. Those 2 outer pads are ground pads, and you really need them because they provide like the strength, basically, and it really helps to ground the antenna to them. Technically, you can run an antenna without those grounds. You can just run a piece of wire off of that signal pad, but it's yeah, that doesn't work nearly as well as using the ground pads. It's like a fucking baby, man. It's just like teething up in here. What do you want, dude? What do you want? Do you want love? Are you lacking love? No, you just want someone that you can chew on. Oh! His fur under here, by we I mean Maggie, put his t-shirt on him, and now all of his hair under here is kind of matted. And the last time that happened, the groomer had to shave him down. And I think they're going to have to again, because this is, like, really matted. And he's going to look really stupid. He looks really dumb shaved all the way down. So, dumb-looking Teddy next time he goes to the groomer. It's coming up. Scott, yeah, there are YouTube videos on how to direct solder an FPV antenna. I think I've done it on the stream before, but it's really hard to show it. Yeah, here you go. So watch this one for sure. That thumbnail is stop playing. That thumbnail is really showing you what you're gonna need to do. And then the outside bits there. Yeah, you'll see. These 2 videos are probably gonna do it for you. They're gonna show you exactly what you need to do. So yeah, watch these 2. You'll be good. Here's another one. I just searched for direct solder FPV antenna, and yeah, it's doable. It's a little difficult. It's actually really strong when you're done, though. I just recently did it. I don't know which rig I did it to, but yeah, I just recently had to do it. Cloudhopper says there still seem to be a few 2023 2G4 ELRS AIOs available. Where? We need to all buy them. Rob Axelson says the baby tooth that was stuck in the tree for 2 years, the EST still spun up the motor's receiver is still dead. Wow, that's wild. That's incredible. Walter says, I did the spirograph also. It's like algorithm. I can see that. Timon says, what would 1002 21,000 kV motors need to be limited down to for 2S? I'm going to start at 70%, and then we'll kind of take it from there. But the 70% is, let's see. So 20, what did you ask about? You asked about 21,000. 21,000 times 0.7. So yeah, I actually won't need to go that far down. I'll probably do 75% then, because 14,000 kV on 2S, there's still, you can still go a little bit higher. I'll do 70%. Yeah, this is, although actually, no, these are 23,500. So yeah, for 21,000 kV motors, 70% would be perfect. These are actually 23,500 kV motors, but they perform like 22,000 kV motors. I don't think they're actually 23,500 kV, but I'll be conservative with it. If I motor limit them to 65%, that brings them down to 15,000 and some change. So yeah, that'd be totally fine. So yeah, I'll do 65% to get started. But yeah, I'll probably be able to turn them up a little bit because 2S is gonna really, yeah, you guys will see. You'll see. YouTube did the thing again. La 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 la. Thank you, YouTube, for having the worst live streaming setup on earth. There we go. BLD says, my favorite, shitting through a screen at 100 yards. What does that mean? What? Cloudhopper says, checking when Checking where I thought the 2G4 was available. I think there are no more available. Yeah. Fusion Catalyst says to Mob8 Frame, you were correct. Good shit. Hockey Round says Mob8 frames are fragile. Okay, there we go. So even though it feels strong, an 85 millimeter tiny whoop is going to be heavy as hell. So it's going to really beat the shit out of the frame. Jay Hines says, what tips can you share for chasing BMX bike race this weekend? I'll be using my Pico with Caddx cam. Also have a 3.5-inch skylight with Caddx cam. Probably mount my Insta360 on the skylight. BMX bike racing, my main tip is going to be to keep your distance. This is not me picking on you, Jay Hines. I promise, okay? But if someone is asking, all right, look, I'm a big proponent of being like way over prepared. Easy for me to say because I found FPV over 8 years ago, right? So like I'm in a position of privilege here to be able to say this, but I still do believe it. I still do believe that you should wait to fly around people and or like sketchy situations until you're not second guessing yourself until like you are sure that you can do it safely. The main reason for this attitude is that, and I can't believe this hasn't happened yet, all it takes is for one of us to hit the wrong person and for it to blow up as like a news story and for it to kind of ruin it for everyone, right? Like the second right? And so that scares the shit out of me. And I want to do this like forever. So I am super motivated to, on one hand, tell you guys to not fly around people, right? But at the same time, I absolutely want you guys to have that experience because it is great. Subject-driven flying is amazing. So again, Jay, this is not me picking on you. I have this conversation with everybody that hires me on Fiverr to work with them who asks that same question. So just keep that in mind. Throttle Expo is a big deal. So yeah, if you don't already have that set up, definitely search it on my channel and watch that, learn it, and get that absolutely dialed in. I don't really have any tips per se for like subject driven flying. Like my only real tip is to just fly your ass off, fly thousands and thousands and thousands of batteries until you're super comfortable, you're not even remotely nervous, and it's kind of like a joke. Like flying a Cinewhoop around people, in my opinion, like it should be a joke. You should have flown so much tiny whoop, so much 5-inch freestyle, so much more difficult stuff that subject-driven flying is very easy. From a safety perspective, but also from a perspective of when you're flying around subjects, you're no longer flying, you're operating a camera. And being a camera operator is a whole separate skill set, and you can't have any, like, none of your brain power can be tied up with actually flying. It all needs to be tied up on storytelling and operating the camera and what's the previous shot going to be, what's the shot going to be after this, how can I help the editor incorporate this into their workflow and into the clips that they're going to have access to. If I'm on a music video set and there is a crane cam there, I fly completely different than when there's not a crane cam there, because the crane camera can do a bunch of the simple moves that we do way better because it's gimbal stabilized and there's guys running it that are way more talented than I am as camera operators, right? And so that's kind of how deep it sort of goes. So those are really the only tips that I can give you. But I can absolutely tell you that BMX bike racers are super unpredictable, and they change elevation super quickly. And that's where my only real tip of like keep your distance from them is kind of coming from, because they are going to just appear, and like if you're close to them, there's going to be a point where one of them is just in your face and you're not going to expect it. And if you smack into one of them, you'll probably be fine. They have some gear on usually, but again, all it takes is that one like really awkward hit, or for one of them to have their fingers up and to go into the blade, like, you know what I mean? It's just scary shit. And usually like they're younger kids, and God forbid their parents are Karens and Kens, and what's the male version of Karen? It's not Ken. So yeah, those are really the only tips I can give you. I wish I had more for you, but it's yeah, you when subject driven flying, you become a camera operator. So actually, I mean, I guess another tip would be to like look up camera moves, like look up classic OG static camera moves that are on cranes and or handheld gimbal setups, because that's really what you're doing as a Cinewoop pilot with a subject, is you turn into a camera operator. And so you need to know, push in, push out, dolly left, dolly right, that like very simple stuff, but you need to like really drive that stuff into your head, because those are the camera moves that work, right? Like we've been moving cameras around forever. We just haven't had full three-dimensional control over them. The whole three-dimensional control thing is great for freestyle, but then if you do a lot of that three-dimensional stuff with a subject, it's way too much. Like, it's about the subject, it's not about you as the pilot. You're just putting the camera into the perfect position. It's not about flipping up over their head, doing a 360, yaw spin backwards to a trippy. None of that stuff is going to include the subject in them, right? Like, it's just going to be chaos and mayhem. So, yeah, there's that. Hopefully that helps. Rob Axton says, gotta crash, stay safe, morning comes fast. Good hanging, brother. I don't have water down here, do I? God damn it. I will suffer through. Brent Anderson says, Mob8 8 happy model frame is weak. E6000 keep you going. Pre-E? Pre-E? I don't know what pre-E means. But that's wild. That frame seems really strong. But yeah, again, so 85 millimeter builds are going to be really, really heavy. Striker says, I'm 15, but unfortunately am not as financially well endowed as some of these other guys. I built my quad not from scratch, but with upgrades over time, and so it's very special to me. You wouldn't believe how many people in FPV Striker are in a similar situation. One of the main reasons that I chose FPV was because it was way cheaper than the previous hobbies that I had. Photography, motorsports, airsoft wasn't too bad, but yeah, FPV is a great hobby if you don't have a ton of money. I've come really close in the past to changing the name of this channel to Budget FPV, because yeah, from day one, budget has been very high on the list of requirements. Like whenever I go to build something, yeah, is there a cheaper way of doing this? Is there a cheaper motor that's just as good? One of the reasons why I do all of the testing that I do is to try to find the magical thing that's less money but it's the same quality. Over the years, I've realized that more important than finding something that's cheaper but really good is finding stuff that's durable. Even if it costs a lot more money, if you can actually find something in FPV that's durable, which is really difficult, you will save so much money. Even if it's twice as expensive, something that's durable will easily last twice as long. And whenever something breaks, when most things break, there's a good chance that the entire quad is going to disappear forever. And that is the major financial hit. So buying durable parts, not just buying expensive parts, because there are plenty of expensive parts that are not durable at all. But yeah, finding parts that are durable is the best way to keeping the cost down. The problem is, to be able to durability test parts, I have to put hundreds, if not thousands, of batteries through them. And the FPV companies have realized that if every 6 months they discontinue a product and then rename it and change something stupid, they can sell a whole bunch more. So we need to stop falling for that shit. We need to stop buying the brand new products all the time. And we need to reward these manufacturers for actually making products that are durable, and we need to buy the shit out of the same thing over and over and over again. But we can't do that because they keep discontinuing stuff on us. So it's really, really, really difficult. BLDO5 says, Sims were almost non-existent when I learned to fly helis. Real Flight, I think, was just released. I can't imagine not having a simulator to learn this shit on. Especially line of sight. Good lord. Although, I learned line of sight without a simulator. So, Striker says, my motor broke when I flew hard. I was just in that flow state, basically acting like I was in the sim. 9 out of 10. I nearly cried. Fixable problem, but one that I won't be able to for a good bit. It'll be a few months before I can get enough cash to replace all 4 motors since they don't sell them individually, so I have to upgrade. I feel you, brother. Believe me, I do. My first little over a year in this hobby, I was actually unemployed. And yeah, I would break a rig, and that would be that. It would sit for months before I could afford to do another Banggood order. This is where I started to learn about the value of durable parts, because, yeah, I was buying the cheapest stuff available from Banggood, and then I would get it, and it would explode pretty quickly, and then I'd have to buy it all over again. And now I've spent twice as much money versus buying the more durable thing for 50% more money, right? So, yeah, stick around. Everything I do is based around finding durable stuff, finding stuff that's going to be as cheap to run as possible. I try to I work really hard to keep the running costs down. I can't believe I've been out of focus this entire fucking live stream. There we go. That's better. Jay Hines says, thanks for the tips and input. You're certainly welcome. BLD says, chocolate rain. Cole Powers says, being so good at flying that you go where you want to go is way harder than just not running into shit. Yes, very much so. Practice, practice, practice. Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal. Thousands of batteries. Like I know that sounds, to some of you, thousands of batteries sounds like an unobtainable number. You're really looking to get like 5,000, 10,000 in. It's the learning curve to flying FPV is almost infinite. And that is one of the things that is so fascinating to so many of us about FPV. A lot of things in life, I've done a lot of things over the years, and I've always been able to get like really, really good pretty quickly. FPV has not been that at all. It is just so difficult. And yeah, you just have to put the time in. And time is batteries. So, yeah. As many batteries as you thought that you would need to get good, double it. And then double it again. Then you'll start to get there. But, yeah, luckily, that process is incredibly fun. Because you're fucking flying through the air. So, remember that. Always remember that it's fun, right? Like, even when you're in, like, get good, scrub mode, you got to make sure that you're still having fun with it. So, always come back to that. Brand Anderson says pre-E equals check for white stress lines in the frame after each flight and add some E6000. Ah, okay. At spots until they develop till Jello City. Got it. Pre-E. That's fun. All right. The work begins. What are you doing back here? What? Look at this lazy shit. He was just laying there. What are you doing? What's the deal? He's just looking at me. You alright, buddy? Is nobody awake? Oh, nobody's awake upstairs, are they? Come here. Come here. Don't play this game where you stay just out of arm's reach. Get over here. Good dog. You're a good dog, and I love you. And I'm going to eat you. You will be destroyed so that nobody else can enjoy your presence. That's how it works, right? That's why we want to destroy things. All right, here we go. Hypnos didn't say whether or not I can show this, so I'm just going to show it. Look how fucking cool that is, yo. My God, man. That is insane. Yo. It's gonna be rad. Something cool's coming. Something very cool is coming, my friends. This is gonna be nuts. Oh my God. So cool. Alright, here we go. Denzel says, how often do you use the hammer hanging on your toolbox for building quads? More often than I should. Is the answer. I really try not to. It's a lightweight hammer. I will say that. It is a small, lightweight hammer. Okay, so we got the heat shield off, so that's awesome. That is terrific. I guess the first thing that I need to do is solder on the motor connectors, which I've actually not done before, and I have a funny feeling is going to be kind of difficult. So this is the Beta FPV F4 1S 12 amp brushless version 3. Version 3 is there's no USB, so it's super flat. You've got this JST port, and then they give you this stupid thing for USB. So the reason I did that is I want this to be very flat so that when I mount it in these frames, the in some of the frames, the 2S battery takes up a bunch of the space here. And if you've got the USB port sticking up, it won't clear the battery to get in through there. So yeah, that's the main reason that I chose this frame. But what I need to think about here real early is how do I mount this so that I can get to this plug without having to take the whole damn thing apart, right? Like I don't want to have to take this all the way apart. I don't want to have to pull the stack out just to plug it into Betaflight. And it's not looking great. I think I'm going to have to put this plug upwards, which really sucks because that means I'm going to have to space this board out quite a bit with the VTX on top. So I'm not loving that. That's kind of annoying. Let me deal with this ELRS antenna real quick. They had it like wrapped around in a really awkward kind of way that I have now fixed. Okay, so that's good to go now. So yeah, I don't think there's any way for me to mount this where this plug is going to be accessible because see, it's getting jammed up under that, and then there's really not enough room on the side here to like get this in there. I mean, it's going to be on grommets, so it is going to be sitting up a little bit, but it's pointed directly at the duct. Like I'm not. That's not gonna work. I'm not gonna be able to like peel this duct out of the way. So that's shitty. So I think what that means is I'm gonna have to flip it over, and I'm gonna have to mount it like this with that. Shit, that barely helps the situation. Nah, all right, yeah, once there's grommets on it, I guess I'll have just enough room to sneak this plug in there. I hope. Jesus. What the hell? Why wouldn't they have put that... Oh, never mind. Never mind. Yeah, once it has grommets, it'll be about there, and I should be able to push this duct out of the way. Okay, so the next question becomes, what like orientation do I mount this in, and what orientation do I mount the Walksnail board in? With the Walksnail board, there is kind of like a right way to sort of put it because of where the wires exit. I'm just going to copy off the other rigs that I've built with it because I've already gone through that. Like, I've already figured that out. So we've got this one, and then there's a 65 millimeter Walksnail rig floating around here somewhere as well. Here it is. All right, so let's see. I think I did the same thing on both of these. I did indeed. Yeah, the port that you plug the oh yeah, right, you know, and it also has to do with the U.fl port for the actual antenna. So okay, so this guy is going to go with this port up front. It's the same on both of these, so that makes sense. All right, so this Walksnail board, so we've got the little LED holder in the back here. So this is the front of this frame. So front is going to be up for you guys. It's towards my chest. So this Walksnail board is going to mount in here like this. And admittedly, that kind of sucks because this is the tall side of the board. Oh, no. Okay, so there's a button here. All right, so no, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is going to mount like this. And so in trying to save as much space as possible, this plug header is the high point on this AIO. So basically what I'm going to do is just mount it up in all four ways and see what that is going to hit. So it hits the chip here. If I put it this direction, oh, that looks pretty good. That's sitting nice and flat. This direction is terrible because the MIPI plug is here. So that is the worst possible way to orient that. And then this way, same kind of deal. This way it's going to hit the chip. Unfortunately, it's going to hit the tall part of the chip. So this is a no-go, putting it this way. It looks like this way would work. Yeah, so, all right, so I have two options. This way right here. This is the second flattest. The absolute flattest possible way to mount it, though, it looks like, is right here. But it'll work in either one of these directions. So, all right, this is best case scenario. The whole purpose here is to keep this deck height as tight as possible, so that we're not pushing the camera up really high and having a big long lever for the camera to break the ears off the frame. This is pretty important here, actually. So if I mount it like this, and then I need that thing to be facing forward, so that means it would mount like that. All right, so are there any problems with that? So we've got this port in the back corner. We've got the antenna over here. That's fine. I can run the antenna like that, or maybe I can run it vertically. So the top looks fine. On the bottom, okay. So mounting it like this is no good because the power leads are going to be on the side, and that's just stupid. Also, the motor plugs are going to be front and rear, and they're going to get in the way of the battery. So this mounting will not work. Oh, wow, this could be a problem. Hold on. So let's see. No, yeah, I mean, as much as I want the power leads to come out the back, if they have to come out the front, that's not the end of the world. But I would love them to be in the back. So hold on. Let's just... I forgot about the whole power lead situation. If I put the power leads in the back and then I mount this like this, what happens? Where is that plug header? Fuck, it's on the MIPI. It's the worst possible place for it to be. Oh, that sucks a big bag of dicks. Shit sticks. Well, so this is the way that I like the best. This is the second best. So if I do it the second best way, then the power leads are going to be up front, right? Yep, that puts the power leads up front. Which is not the end of the world. I don't love that. Like, these are the batteries that I'm probably going to run. With the power lead up front, what can happen is, if you nose the thing in, you push the battery out the back, and the motor lead comes through like that, and then you have the dangling battery. If you have the battery in the back, when you nose it in and it pushes it back, the battery wire like stops it from coming out. Also, if you have those wires up in the front, right? If you've got all these wires up in the front, if you're flying really low and you start to scrape the ground, you can scrape these wires all up and just rip the silicone right off of them. So, yeah. All right, so battery leads at the back. I mean, I could rotate this and have the U.fl coming out the rear. So if I rotate this, oh, but shit, then it's against the MIPI again. It really wants to be rotated sideways. Nope, that's the bad direction. This is the good direction. Okay, so if I mount it like this. Oh, wait. There we go. That's exactly how I want it. How did I... Oh, no. I'm back to front. Hold on. I'm back to front. There we go. Okay, so now I'm looking at the front of the frame. So I kind of want to mount it like this, but the other option is I could mount it like this, and then... Okay, that would slam these nice and close. But then the U.fl is over here, and that's not going to work because this canopy... Yep, this canopy... Yeah, no, I can't do that. I can't do that. That's right. It's a canopy problem. The U.fl is going to foul on that side of the canopy. That's why... Oh, yeah, right. That's why I have to have that in the front, because I need to cut the front support completely off. The Mob8 6 canopy does not work well with the Walksnail AIO because of the U.fl location. Maybe I can put it in the rear, though. No, see, it's right on top of it. And once you've got an antenna plugged in here, it's really tall. And then so you have to end up putting the canopy up really high, and that's not what we're going for here. So the option would be I could put it in the rear, and then I could cut the rear of the canopy off, which I've seen done to save weight, which is pretty cool. But I really prefer to just cut the front. You just round the bottom out. I've done it on both of these. See, the bottom is just rounded out on the front. And it works really, really well. Like, it's still nice and strong. They actually, initially, they made these canopies without the front screw mount. So, yeah. Yeah, having it on the side is way worse because of the way that the supports sit. Okay, so if I put it like this... The MIPI plug just pushes right into that thing. God, that sucks. Damn. Okay. What do I do here? What do I do? I'm also noticing that this Walksnail VRX fits really tightly on these posts. These posts seem like they're kind of big. Oh no, you know what it is? The posts are just tall. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. So if I reverse this, and then I cut the rear of the canopy off. I can save a chunk of weight. Oh, but see, what is happening with the MIPI plug on this frame? Well, no, this isn't going to be sitting so low. This is going to be sitting up a little bit, so that'll be fine. And then the MIPI plug is here. Camera comes up in there and sits there like that. That's fine. Wires are exiting up in the front here. And so I would need to... Well, I don't even know. Where are the pads? Oh, okay, so the pads are on the other side. Come on, you fuck. So it looks like these are the pads that I'm going to need to hook up to. So that's another thing that I need to kind of think about is... Am I going to have access to those pads? So I'm going to need to flat solder to those pads, and I need to run the wires inwards. And so... If I put it like this, oh man, yeah, it really wants to be like this, because then I've got plenty of room to solder to those. Oh, this is tough, man. I don't necessarily know how I want to do this. I would really love to mount this board upside down like this. The problem with that, though, is that your U.fl is buried between the boards. So if you need to change the antenna, you're screwed. You got to pull the whole thing apart. Which is not... I mean, you don't really change your antenna all that often. And, like, the plus side of doing that is that you'll get better cooling on the chip. This big mirror finished chip is what gets really hot. Oh shit. I mean, what if I do that? I put this here. Let's see. Let's kick this out, up and out. So if I put it there, nope, those two plug headers hit, so that's no good. What about here? Yep, that would work. Okay, so that would actually work really well. What about there? No, that's not that great, because I got these wires coming out and they're hitting that. What about here? That would work. Works that way. Okay, so this direction or that direction. So, all right, let's see. Where are the battery leads at? There they are. Okay, so if this is in the rear like that, and then I mount it like this, the MIPI is up here. MIPI's not going to be a problem. It's just going to fold right over like that. Wait, no, this is not the right direction. It was like this. This is the one. Is it? Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Okay, yeah, no. So there's only really one direction that works. Okay, all right. So it's this direction. This would be the direction that would work. So then the MIPI's here. That's whatever. That's fine. The button is up here, but you only hit that once when you bind it. The port to plug into the DVR to download the files off of it is back here. That's fine, whatever. Ooh, this is actually really nice. The wires are on the opposite side. So the wires will do just a straight run between here and here. See that? the wires are just going to run like that, right straight across. And then the video antenna U.fl is going to be on the side here. So it's going to be right under there. That could be a problem. Let's take a look. Let's see what the antenna lengths look like here. So if I were to do an ultra short, which is what I usually do, yeah, that won't work. The ultra short won't make it out of there. I will need to go to a slightly longer antenna like this. And then so it's going to be hooked up there, and then it's going to peek out the top, and then it's just going to poke up. So yeah, I will need to get a left-hand circular, yeah, something like this, and then run it up at the back like that. And that's going to be a little heavy, but man, is it going to have good signal quality. I have this one. Yeah, this one's way too long. That ain't going to work. So for the time being, what I would do is just run a whip antenna. And then I would have to take it apart when the proper antenna comes in. Which is, you know, annoying, but hey. That's FPV. Alright, so I'm going to grab a whip antenna for right now. And then, yeah, that's plenty long. So I think that's what we're going to do, man. And this thing will stay nice and cool. That's a nice little bonus. Well, it won't stay nice and cool, but it'll be a little bit cooler. Nate Adams says, any tips for reducing yaw wash on Mob8? More power. Yeah, more power. If you ever have a yaw wash situation, the correct solution is always more power. Ark says, instead of cutting off the whole front of the canopy, I just cut a small bit of it off and let it screw in. It's a good idea. I don't know why I didn't do that. Cole Power says, is there a reason you're putting the flight controller on the bottom and the VTX on top? Because of the motor plugs. Can the VTX go on the bottom, flight controller up top with the motor leads going up? I mean, technically, yeah. But, actually, no. No, you can't do that. Because the canopy's there. The motor plugs would smash right into the canopy. Yeah, so you can't do that. Plus, it makes a wiring nightmare. You've got 12 wires sticking straight up, and then you've got to tuck them down in between the frame and the AIO, and it's just like kind of a nightmare. It's a good question though, Cole. Ark says, I have the plug upwards, and half of the time I just leave the USB cable plugged in while I fly. What? How? Kevin the Alien says, keep the smallest part of the dongle plugged in and just tuck it out of the way when you don't need it. Nah, wait, man. Wait, guys. Come on. Come on. Fusion Catalyst says, could get a right angle version of that connector and do some soldering. What connector? The JST connector? Is that what you mean? Alright. So, I think this is it, man. I think this is the way that it's going to have to be put together. And there's a bunch of compromises that I'm making here, but I think I'm making the least... What I'm trying to do is make the least number of compromises possible. Okay, let's check if I'm going to... Wait, it was like this. Okay, no, it's easy. It's easy because these wires make a straight run across the board. Okay, easy. I need to figure out if I'm going to run if I can run a 90 degree. So, back of the frame, if I've got the battery through here, separate these leads because there is charge in the battery. If I have the 90 like that, and then, yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. I do not want I do not want this 90-degree going down, though. 5 to 90 going down. Well, actually, it would work like that. But there's no reason to do it. We're going to have the 90 going up. So that's going to be fine. The next question becomes, are the cables going to be long enough? So if I tuck, one of these is shorter than the other. Yeah, the blue one is a little bit shorter. So let's see if the blue one is going to be long enough. So it needs to go in there. And then this guy plugs in. What? Oh, hold on. I'm going to flip the battery around. Okay. So blue one goes in. And then this is going to go here. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. That is just barely going to be short enough. The power leads are even with that back post. They're just in front of that back post. So, yeah, this is going to have... I'm going to have to flat solder this thing on here. Wow, that is just going to be... You know, it's not going to be long enough because I'm not going to have enough extra to plug the damn thing in. What the hell? Why would they make these leads so short? What is this, a battery lead for ants? I mean, I was more planning on running the 300s. I'm going to have to run the 300s. The 450 is not... It ain't going to work. And I'm sure as shit not going to extend these battery leads. That's absurd. I do have some of the straight leads, though. Let's check those. Well, actually, let's check both. This is the lead that came with the AIO. I did order another set of the 90-degree leads. Maybe they're a little bit longer? Wow, why would they make these pigtails so short? What the hell's that about? Come on. Put another inch of wire on there, you donkeys. Nah, these are no better. What the hell, dude? Why would they make these so short? Jesus. I mean, I would like the option of running these 450 batteries, you know? But, I mean, I guess I am trying to keep this thing as light as possible, so... I guess maybe the 450 batteries are for like a 2.5-inch whoop or something. Oh yeah, right. And then so I got these adapters so that I could just chop this and use it as a thing, but then that's way too short too. Oh man, this is fucked. So like if this is plugged in here, that's not even close to long enough. What the hell? Alright, well, I guess I won't even bother charging these 450 mAh batteries because they're not going to work. But these 300s will totally work because they've got the little pigtail, right? So, I just blop it in there. And then even if this is kind of short, it won't matter. Probably like run it. So it'll basically be like this. So it'll be right there. And so yeah, it'll sit out there. Alright, so it basically sits even with that thing. So, man, this battery is going to move all around. I'm going to have to figure this out. These 300 mAh batteries are kind of small. Yeah, so that's, yeah. Okay, so this will be fine. I am going to try a couple of different frames on this, but I'm going to try this frame first because this is the frame that everybody says is indestructible. This is the Mob8 7 V3 frame. Okay, so yeah, it's 300 mAh batteries only, I guess, on this. Which is very annoying. I got to admit that I'm not at all happy about this. I mean, like literally, like a 1/2 inch more wire on there, and it would have been completely fine. What the hell? Man, I'm taken aback by that. Let me really quickly check one of these other frames to see if maybe the batteries will sit farther forward in here, possibly. Oh, well, this battery won't fit in here at all. Okay, so this frame won't work with those batteries at all. Maybe that's the it's the silver lining or whatever here, is that these they won't fit in that one. Well, this is a 1S frame, so it definitely won't fit in that one. We got one more frame to try. And I think that on some of these frames, you can cut some of the supports away to fit bigger batteries in there. We'll play with that down the road. But gotta go in order here. All right, so here's this other one. Oh, all right, great. So fits in here. Oh, there we go. That's sitting a little bit farther forward, isn't it? So if that's... The blue one was the shorter one. Separate these. So if the blue one is soldered there... Yeah, okay. It'll work on this frame. I think this is the frame that I'm going to run to get started. Oh man, see, no, these are going to break. They're already starting to get white and break. I'm going to call it right now. This build is going to be a reliability nightmare. This build is going to break frames. It's going to break motors. It's going to break everything. I hope it doesn't. But I'm just telling you right now. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the deal. Yeah. So this frame will work. See, I have it at a 45-degree angle. Like that's where it has to be able to reach that to come plugged in. And see, the blue is just a little bit past this, so I would need to flat solder it, but that's fine. So this frame will work, I think, because it's shifting the battery farther forward. Whereas on this frame, the battery stops there. Yeah, the back of the battery is right there. And so if I've got this guy at a 45-degree angle to begin to plug it in, like there. Well, no, okay. It looks like it might be okay. The blue one is there. Oh, no, there it is. Oh, wow, no, it won't. Neither one of these frames will work. But it's not the 45-degree angle that's the hard part. It's here. It's once it goes flat like that. That's when it's the farthest back. Son of a bitch. All the way forward. And so it's right here. That's the farthest. I think that's just about... Yeah, no, that one will just barely work. Good God, is that close, though. So this is the Beta FPV 75X frame. So the 75X frame will let me run both batteries. So I'm going to build it in this frame for right now. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to build it in this frame now. Hold on, though. Let me see how this battery fits in there. Still kind of loose, but no more loose than the other one. Okay, yeah, so we're going to use this 75X frame to get started. Does anybody know about... does anybody know anything about this Beta FPV 75X frame? Anybody know if it's durable or not? It does not look super durable, I gotta be honest. It doesn't look anywhere near as durable as this frame. And I can already see that a couple of these supports in here are going white. You see how the end of that, so see how white, see that white line there? This support's about to break off, like already. Arc says it's not durable. Oh my God, you've broken 5? Come on now. Jesus, it's after midnight already? I didn't even turn the soldering iron on. I mean, this is the part of builds that does take an incredible amount of time if you want to build something properly. Like, you can just take all this shit and slam it together, and then when it doesn't work, tear it all apart and fix it, and then when it flies like shit, tear it all apart and fix it again. Or you can do all this up front and build it once, and then hopefully it's good to go. Ark says the best frame I've found so far is the Mob8 7 V4. Why not the V3? Everybody says the V3 is completely bomb-proof. Arx also says that the 450s are too heavy. Good. Done. 75X frame going away. We're going to use the Mob8 7 V3 frame. Brandon says cut off the bottom of the V4 and use a rubber band. I'm really trying to not do that. I'm trying to not have, like, be living rubber band life. We might at the end, but I'm really interested in this frame. So many people have told me that this frame is like God mode, that I'm really interested in this. Okay, so I'm just not going to run the 450s. It's just going to be 350 only. So I am going to use this. So yeah, and I mean at this point I might as well use the through holes, since I don't need that extra cable length because I'm not going to run the 450 mAh batteries. All right, cool. So let's do at least a little bit of soldering here. Let's throw this battery lead on, and then we'll take a look at getting these motor plugs on here as well. So this plug is going to be facing upwards, which makes me want to scream, but sometimes it's just like that. So we're going to cram this into our soldering putty like that. And then white is the opposite of black, which is, yeah, white is ground in the same way that black is ground. So that guy is going to go on this side. This guy is going to go on that side. And they've already got some solder in here. Oh boy, is that nice. That just sits right there all nice like. And it kind of pre-tensions the wires even. No, I want these wires sitting back like that. So we're going to double team it. We're going to use the soldering putty and the OmniFixo. And we're just going to set it like that. And then we're going to come up here with this guy. And we're just going to clamp it like that. And this is going to pop out of here, of course. There we go. That's better. All right, so kind of like pre-tension this, sort of push it forward a little bit. Get it exactly where we want it. Rotate this a little bit. All right, let me take a look at that with a little 5X loop. Oh, you guys can't even see it. It's off the front of the desk. Shitting hell. There you go. There you go. All right, so let's take a look at how those wires are sitting in the holes. Looks pretty good. Just gonna move this over a little bit, and yeah, that's awesome. All right, cool. So that's good to go. We're gonna load this up with flux because we have wires that are tinned with lead-free solder right now, and then we have holes that are not tinned at all. So we really need to make sure that the heat transfers here, and I'm going to add a whole bunch of solder because I need to push solder into the through hole, onto the wires, and we're going to make a nice blob up on top. So, yeah. What I should do is tin the through holes and then remove the solder, and then there would still be a coating of solder there, but I ain't got time for that. Let's just do it the half-ass way. It'll be totally fine. So we'll do the positive first, and that'll get some heat into the ground plane, and then we'll do the ground, and it shouldn't take as long. So there goes the big old blob of solder. Everything is nice and clean now, and now we're going to push solder into the hole. Be patient. The patience that I just had really paid off. I got to watch the solder seep down into the hole. It's almost like a two-step thing that happens. Now we're going to do the ground. Same deal. We want to push solder into the through hole. And then be patient. You'll see when the solder has... You'll see when everything has gotten hot enough and the solder kind of moves around in there. That should be good. But the most important step is to check your work. And in this case, you want to check the back side. The top is just a big old ball of solder. The back side is where you want to make sure that the solder has penetrated. And I think I can maybe show this to you guys. What you're looking for is that the solder came through. See how it came through there? That's what needs to happen. If we could see individual strands of wire down there, or if we could still see the gold of the through holes, that would be bad. When you're going to do it like this, you got to make sure that the solder penetrates all the way through like that. Otherwise, what can happen is you can have the through hole, you can have the strands of wire, and then you can have like a ball of solder here that hasn't penetrated down, and the ball of solder can like move, and the wire can like move in the through hole because that ball is up top. You need that ball of solder to come off of the top of the strands of wire into the through hole, and then you really want it to penetrate down through into the bottom. And so on the bottom of the through hole, you actually want to see this little concave angle to the wire up to the board, and on the top you're going to have that ball. Technically you want it to be concave on top, but a lot of times we just end up with a big ball. It kind of is what it is. It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Yeah, we're good here. They give you a capacitor with this. On Tiny Whoops, we really don't have room for capacitors. So I'm just going to skip it and hope for the best. I believe this is a 2S or 3S board. Wait a second. Why does this board say 1S? Why does this not say 1S, 2S? Well, no, it has to be 2S. They fucking give you a 2S connector. Shit. If this is only 2S, if this is only a 2S board, I might not be able to skip the capacitor. Shit. Where the hell am I going to put the capacitor on this? Oh, wait, no, that's not right. So feed this thing through. So, man, you know, I guess it's gonna have to live there. Oh, this sucks. That's where the antenna is gonna need to go, though. Oh, for Christ's sake! I could technically put it on the bottom, but then I'm gonna have to desolder it every single time I want to take this out of here, and that is a total fuck you. Wow, this blows. The problem's gonna be that it's gonna need to clear the Walksnail board. So, like, if it's there... okay, so this is gonna go here like this. Yeah, I mean, it does clear. But that's the space for the goddamn antenna. And then I'm also going to have this canopy is going to make the whole situation all wild and woolly. No, that's actually not too bad. Where the hell's the antenna going to go? Out the front, in front of the camera? This sucks. I'm going to try it without the capacitor. yeah, it's just, it's not. We're running a digital system anyway, so maybe it'll be fine. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Ark says he skipped it. I'm gonna skip it. Fuck it. Cold Power says, is the capacitor in the box for this build? Could you just use capacitor leads, lengthen your power leads? A few millimeters tend to shrink wrap one or both the exposed leads. Yeah, I mean, I could play the game. The other thing I could do is play the game where I put the capacitor onto the battery leads, but apparently the capacitors become worthless when you do that. Supposedly, you really have to either connect them directly to the ESC or the AIO, or don't even bother using them. I mean, the other thing I could do is take a look at, see if there's another VBAT set of VBAT pad. Yeah, let's see. Is there are there VBAT pads somewhere else on the board that I could kind of jack into? No. Okay, so I'm skipping it. All right, so now we need some motor plugs, and I think this is gonna be the last thing that we do. I'm gonna do some of this off stream because this is kind of a challenging build, and it's really, really hard to like talk through it and build it all at the same time. But I want to at least show you guys this, and if something weird happens, we can kind of talk about it. So here we go. All right, so we need to pick 90 degree or straight. And it's a tiny whoop, so it has to be straight. Yeah, there's no real picking here. It's just going to be straight. But these need to go on the other side. And the directionality does not matter because the motors spin whatever direction they want. So, yeah. All right, let's put the rest of this shit away. I am going to leave these little grommets out because once I'm done with the soldering, they can just go straight on. All right, so 90 degree. Very cool that they give you both the straight ones and the 90 degree ones. That's awesome. Good job, Beta FPV, on that. Another little grommet. All right. Another 90. And cool. All right, we're good. So, hopefully the OmniFixo will be magical for installing these. Basically, I just need to hold them in place. They're going to sit flat against the they're going to sit flat against the board. Oh yeah, there is a directionality to these because the pins come out on one side. So yeah, these are going to go like this. Yeah, for sure. Otherwise, they're going to sit too far in. So in theory, I can just... Let's do this. Let's put you up there. And then I think I could just grab it like that. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Oh, that is nice. I just want to make absolutely sure that this thing is sitting flat against the AIO. I don't want it to be like crooked or anything. Oh yeah, that's going to be tough to keep it sitting totally flat. So let's see. How can I do that? Do I do that? That's what I do. So I'm pushing the jaws of the OmniFixo up against the board. And that, perfect. That locks that thing in just right. This is really small work now. Now we're really getting into the territory of like must-wear magnification. So on go the nerd goggles. Yep, that is sitting in there perfect. So, Jesus Christ. Okay, we got one, we got two, we got three. All right. The reason why I'm doing this with motor plugs right now is I want to experiment with a couple of different motors on this rig. Down the road, I'm going to direct solder this, but for right now, yeah, I'm not totally sure which motors I'm going to end up wanting to run on this. All right, so yikes, this is small. This is very small. All right, here goes nothing. And both wrists are down on the desk to keep me from shaking. Still going to be a little bit of shake. Same deal. Be patient. Let the solder flow through the through hole. And don't add too much solder. Might be good. Man, they are really close to each other. There's a really good chance that one of those is bridged. Let me take a look. I'm going to actually use double magnification right now. As in, I'm going to leave the nerd goggles on, but then I'm also going to use the 5x loop. We're good. Yeah, we're okay. We're okay. Jesus, that is tough. Tough but doable. Let's do another one. All right, so we're going to put it on there. And then we're going to take this guy. See how the pins are offset? The pins are not in the middle. They're off to this side. So I need these pins to go in on the board. See how the holes in the board are on the inside? I would not want these pins to be on the outside like that. The plug would be too far inboard. The pins need to be in. Make sense? They even have a little silkscreen thing on the bottom that kind of shows you how the plug goes in. All right, so I'm going to tilt this down a little bit more. We're going to get the OmniFixo going here. And so I'm just pushing on this plug to make sure it's completely flat against the board. And then bring the OmniFixo jaws in, push them up against the board as well. And then that'll hold that exactly in place. Jesus. That's tough. Yeah, man, that's really hard to get that, to keep it from pulling out away from the board. I kind of want to like sort of pre-tension it in a weird way. Oh man, this one's tough. That other one was for some reason easier. All right, so hold the plug flat. And then, I mean, if the plug is not perfect on there, it's not really going to matter, but it'll fucking drive me crazy. Yeah, no, this one keeps pulling out and away. There we go. There we go. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get it. Let's flex it. And now I'm going to move myself to the work on this one because of how fiddly it was to just get that flat on there. So I'm going to be a little bit uncomfortable doing this, but it'll be all right. Plus, this is a better camera view for you guys, I think. You get to see it at an angle. So let's go from bottom to top this time. That's a lot of solder on that joint. That was too much. This is a case where this solder is actually too thick. The thinner solder would be better here. I'm trying to keep the heat up towards the pin, and I just saw it saturate down through. I don't think this middle one, I don't think the solder went all the way down through the hole in this middle one, so I'm going to heat it back up. Fuck! They just bridged. God damn it. I was afraid of that. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to heat them both up, and then we're going to pull out and away. So heat them both up, and then flick out. We didn't remove enough. Clean the tip of the soldering iron and do it again. Heat them both up and flick outwards. Each time you do that, you're going to remove a little bit of solder, and at some point, it'll clear the bridge. Out. I'm going to do it one more time, and then I'm going to get the solder braid out. In there. Out. Shit. Alright. This is the right way to do it. This is with solder braid. Where the hell is it? There it is. Alright, so we're going to take the solder braid, put it on in here, and then we're just going to remove a bunch of this solder from these two. Just like that. Let it get hot. Patience. There it goes. Okay, and we removed a little bit too much solder, but that's okay. That's totally fine. We can add a little bit more back. And we're going to be good. That's the magic of solder braid right there, my friends. Okay. Here we go. We're going to get it right this time. And what is nice is that now the holes are... I could actually leave this. The solder is still down in the pins. But I want it to be a little bit stronger. And so I'm going to add the right amount of solder to the top. Nope, that's too much. Jesus, this is really small work. My God. Fuck's sake. Alright, hold on. Woo! We got it. Jesus. That was tough. Oh, great. It's focused on the fucking back wall. Awesome. Way to go, you shit. Well, you know, can't always have. I use MG chemicals. I think this is no, it is 6330. Yeah, 6337. Yeah, we got there. Hold on, let me check it. Yeah, it's fine. That's fine. Let's see if the plug is still straight. Yeah, plugs look good. And so now, same kind of deal. We want to check the through holes on the back to see if the solder made its way through. First one's good. Yeah, second one's good too. Cool. Yeah, those will be nice, strong solder joints. I'm going to leave it there. It's 12:30. I'm actually really, really hungry. I'm going to go get something to eat. Swill Bucket says if it was easy, it wouldn't be as fun. Brandon's Baked Bean says, I think skip the cap. Don't think these boards blow up like they used to. Old Crazy 4 would blow up without a cap. Probably brave it. Or get some little wires in the V-bot opposite the pigtail, extend the wire away, AO, pull a cap somewhere external. Yeah, I was thinking about that, but I'm not. It's too much. Too much. We'll, for science, we'll run it without the capacitor and see if it explodes. BLD with the last comment on the live stream, he says, cool, it should have at least 3% flux core, anything less, solder seems to stay plastic. Yeah, no, MG Chemical stuff is really, really good. It's the best solder that I've found. I've used a bunch over the years. All right, friends. Sorry we didn't get more work done on that, but yeah, like I said, you can either just hammer something together and then take it apart a half a dozen times to adjust things and to move things and to figure out how to get it to fly better. Or you can spend a little bit more time up front, check out every possible way of rotating and mounting each individual thing, and find the perfect way where you can keep it nice and tight. All of the wires are coming out in a logical direction. You know, the power lead is not out the side, all that shit. And yeah, save a lot of time in the long run. So I really do recommend that you approach your builds exactly like we did tonight, where the planning process is like half an hour, 45 minutes of like really thinking through it. You're still going to forget one or two things, but you're not going to forget a dozen things, and which totally screws you. So yeah, that's my recommendation. Plan it out, get it done right the first time, and then if you have to make a change, you'll be making a subtle change rather than completely rebuilding the damn thing. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com. Click all the buttons. Join my Patreon. It's the best thing you can do to help me, and there's a ton of benefits. You're gonna love it. You'll get some you'll get on some giveaways depending on the tier that you join. You will I don't know. You'll live a better life. I promise. I don't know about that. Love you guys. Bye. Not ready yet. Hey, we didn't get through this. I am ready. Look at me. Didn't even realize I was ready. Love you, bye. Chocolate rain. Wait a second, we didn't do anything. Nah, I'm just gonna change the title of the stream. We'll do mailbag on Friday. I didn't do 6 batteries. I didn't do mailbag. It's just too late. I love you guys. Bye.